Another persistence method is by using netsh helper DLLs. So netsh is a command line tool which allows you to display or modify the network configuration of a computer. Okay. Now Microsoft added some extensibility feature allowing developers to add a new sort of functionality to netsh, and that kind of feature is called netsh helper and is implemented as a DLL. So for example, if you want to be able to configure DHCP servers on a local machine, there's a dedicated DLL that does DHCP configuration, and this DLL is called dhcpmon.dll, and it is a netsh helper. Okay. This feature can be used for persistence, but it has one downside, which is it actually relies on running netsh. So in other words, your victim machine has to use netsh during runtime to actually execute your helper DLL. It might be the case where, for example, domain admins or workstation admins run some scripts on the user's computer, and these scripts utilize netsh, and in that case your DLL gets executed. But if it's not, if you don't find a similar thing, you won't be able to use that, like this method for persistence, unless you set up something like simple batch, which will execute during logon time, for example, and it will call your netsh. So it would be like a two-level persistence method. Okay. So let's see how the netsh helper DLL looks like. So let's go to our course materials. We go to 02 admin, net help, and let's take a look at that. So it's basically a regular DLL, but it has to export a function called init helper DLL. Okay, and this function is called at load time. So when a netsh starts and it starts loading all helper DLLs, each DLL will, in each DLL this function will be called. Okay, and our implementation is really simple. It just creates a new thread running our Go function, and this is all something you are already familiar with. It will just execute our implant. So it's really super easy and super simple. So let's compile that. And I'm still running this as admin because I will need high privileges to register netsh helper DLL. Net helper. So we compile that. And registration is actually done in Registry Hive, but you can also use netsh to add the helper, and the command is really simple. So you run netsh add helper and the path to your netsh helper. So we already registered and it already executed. Okay, let me show it again. Let's close that and let's run netsh, and our DLL gets executed as you can see. So netsh loaded our net help DLL. Okay, that's our DLL. Which exports init help DLL, helpful DLL, and that got executed. It executed our implant, and finally our implant executes Notepad. So that's one of the techniques, another technique you can use for persistence. But again, it has some limitations. It's relatively dependent on the configuration of your victim machine, unless, as I said before, you can build something more complicated using your own batch. To clean up, we can use NetHelper as again. This time we just delete. Oh, I have to get out. And this time, if we run a netsh, it will not get executed. It won't execute our implant. So that was netsh helper DLL persistence.